Hello everyone, it has been about 4 weeks since the last devlog update that I uploaded to the channel, which is of course a heck of a lot less time than the 6 or 7 years that it was between the first and the second updates. So hopefully this is the start of a new trend to do these updates a little bit more frequently. I'm thinking somewhere in the realm of like once every 1 to 2 months, and I'm hoping to just use these videos as an opportunity to go into just a little bit more detail on what I've been working on in the development recently, what I'm currently working on, maybe going into like a little bit more detail on some of the technical stuff for people who are maybe a bit more interested in kind of the game development aspect itself, or just want more detailed updates on how the development of the game is going. So in terms of stuff that I've been working on since the last update of the last 4 weeks or so, in the last video I believe I mentioned working on the animation stuff for the dog itself, the player character, and how much of a kind of pain in the ass implementing a lot of that stuff has been. Good news is that implementing all of the current animations is done. There is still a little bit of polish left to do in the transitions specifically. There are 1 or 2 little transition moments, like going from idle to walking and vice versa, that look a little bit janky if you look closely enough. So I'm going to polish those up a little bit more, and a couple of other very minor kind of little like edge case transitions and stuff that look a little bit janky. But apart from that, the actual animation implementation itself is all done, which I'm super happy with, because on a technical level that was surprisingly maybe one of the most difficult things technically that I've had to implement in the game so far, which I wasn't expecting it to be. I kind of ended up having to rewrite the vast majority of the movement system in order to kind of accommodate the way the animations work. It's a little bit of a difficult thing to explain kind of verbally, but the combination of the fact that it's a 3D soccer band game, which is where all of the movement and the positions of everything take place on a grid, so you have these kind of discrete positions for everything. It's not like some kind of FPS game where you're running around and you have this kind of fluid movement. The combination of that soccer band style kind of grid-based movement with the specific way that the dog in this game moves, and the way that it's the body is kind of comprised of multiple kind of like cylinders, and as you're moving they all have to kind of like connect with each other very smoothly and everything. Basically the combination of all of that meant that I kind of had to, like I say, rewrite the majority of the movement system in order to accommodate the animations, and making sure that the animation from one step to the next kind of transitions smoothly, and that all of the pieces fit together in a smooth way, and that because there are so many little combinations of like, well, the dog's body could be in a specific like corner in this specific angle, and all these different things. So but once I kind of rewrote that movement system, it became way easier to implement the animations themselves, and I just had to do a little bit of tweaking here and there. And like I said, there's a tiny bit of polish left to do. But I'm very glad I've got that part done, because that's a very important part of the game visually, and how it feels to actually move the dog around in the game, which is obviously a very fundamental aspect of solving the puzzles. Something else that I've been working on over the last 4 weeks or so is a sort of time of day type system. It's not exactly a day-night cycle per se, but it's basically a system that allows things like the lighting in the game, and at some point in the future other things like the audio and stuff like that, to kind of change and progress as you, the player, progress through the puzzles in the game. I wanted the world of the game itself to feel like it's moving and progressing as the player solves the puzzles in the game. I think that's quite an important part of the game thematically, and so I think that was kind of the driving force behind wanting to implement this type of system. At the moment, kind of pretty much the only thing that it really controls is like the lighting. So there's a kind of a feeling of it starting off kind of around like dawn-ish, and then it kind of progresses to midday, and the kind of sun changes position in the sky and stuff like that. But I'll put maybe 3 screenshots kind of side by side here, just to show kind of like a rough idea of what that might look like as the time in the game progresses. The other main thing that I've been working on in terms of visuals is the water, and making the water look a lot nicer. So if you've been following previous updates, you might notice that the water in those screenshots looks a lot better as well. I think I'm pretty much happy with how it looks now. I might tweak a little bit here and there, especially in terms of like reflections and stuff from the environment. But it looks way better than it did now, and it looks much more in keeping with the kind of style that I'm going for. In terms of stuff that's being worked on right now, the environment assets, the work for those is currently ongoing. Early progress from them is looking very promising, and I'm quite happy with the kind of style of those so far. I don't really have anything to show right now, unfortunately, but hopefully in the next update I will have the ability to show off those kind of in action, like in context of like actual levels and puzzles and stuff like that. Another thing that I've been working on recently is experimenting with 1 or 2 other level ideas. They're kind of slightly weird, kind of fringe level ideas that I've had for a while that I'm trying out. I don't know for sure whether or not they'll even make it into the game. I don't know that they fit super cleanly within the current structure of the game, but I'm going to try. There's 32 levels in the game at the moment, and all the level design is done. And I'm very happy with the structure of the levels and how they progress at the moment. But if I can fit 1 or 2 more in, and I will. So that's currently what I'm working on in terms of like the gameplay design and stuff like that. But as I said, you know, the vast majority of the work I'm doing at the moment is just kind of trying to make the game look and sound nice. Audio related work won't really start properly until at least the first pass at the environment assets has been done, just so that I can get obviously a much more solid idea of how things look and matching the audio to that. Other than all of that, I'm hoping to start some very small closed playtesting within the next 1 to 2 months, I think. As I said, all of the level design is done, with the possible exception of those 1 or 2 sort of fringe level ideas. If I do start playtesting soon, I probably won't send out the entire game just yet. It might be like the first sort of third or half or so, the first couple of areas of puzzles, just to get some very kind of early feedback from people. So if anyone's interested, please do shoot me a message or a comment here, or you know, get in touch with me somehow, and I'll be happy to get in touch with you. And yeah, once again, thank you so much to everyone who has sent any little messages, comments on my last video, has been following the updates of the game. Every little message, every little comment really helps a lot, so I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully not in 6 years this time. Bye.